Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So I have the honor of kicking things off. This is our first Community Technical College Running Start series of the academic year. Welcome. Today is November 19th of 2025. Our session today will go from 9 until 11 a.m. Thank you for joining us. Yay, woohoo. Really excited to be here. We've got a lot of great material for you all today and some great discussion later on today with breakouts. So we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, a few housekeeping items. We are going to be recording our session. As always, we will be recording the main presentation section only. So if you do not want to be recorded, I would recommend keeping your screen off, and any comments, you can just drop those in the chat if that is a concern. And as always, please use the chat for questions. Our team will be monitoring throughout. When posting a question, include a little context so we know what slide or topic you're referring to during the Q&A. We are going to be pausing twice for Q&A at the end of each section. So we're going to provide some information, we'll pause, and then do a Q&A, and then provide some more information, pause, do a Q&A, and then we'll go into our breakout session later today. Just a reminder, the Q&A will not be recorded. So when we do post the videos, those will be excluded from the recording. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. We're going to go ahead and go on to the next slide for introductions. All right, my name is Stephanie Rock. I'm a Policy Associate in Student Services in K-12 Alignment at SBCTC. Happy to be here, grateful to be presenting to you all today, and I'm going to turn it on over to Kristen.
Hi folks, good morning. I am Kristen Jowie. I'm the Program Administrator for Student Services in K-12 Alignment, and I will turn it over to Tim.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Tim McClain, Dual Credit Program Supervisor at OSPI. And Brandon?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Here at the State Board, I'm in the IT division. I'm the Associate Director of Campus Solution for Student Financials. Spencer?
There we go. Morning, Spencer Egbert. I work with Brandon, Senior Analyst for the Student Financials team. And Pauline.
Hi, I'm Pauline Smith. I am the Functional Trainer in Student Financials at the State Board.
Wonderful. Thank you. Just really grateful for everyone, all our presenters today. It definitely takes a team, and we're really excited to provide all this wonderful information to you all. So looking at our agenda, we really wanted to focus, a lot of this is kind of a refresher as we kick off the academic year so that we can build as we go through. So there will be some information just as like a refresher going through some things, which includes our dual credit updates. We did have our dual credit webinar, collaborative webinar with Council of Presidents, OSPI, and SBCTC last month. So some of the information is just going to be a recap. There will be a little bit of new information, but that's kind of, we just wanted to circle back to our Community Technical College Running Start program audience to see if there's any follow-up questions, comments, concerns, and making sure that we are just providing that information to everybody. And so, yeah, thank you. Please do drop your information in the chat. I really appreciate that reminder, just so we can see who's in the room. Welcome, everyone. Really appreciate it. And then we're going to hop on over. We're going to pause actually after the dual credit updates. So Tim will provide some updates with OSPI. I'll provide some updates from the SBCTC side, and then we'll pause for Q&A. And then we will turn it on over to our amazing SBCTC Student Financials team. They're going to do some refreshers, provide some updates on our student running start page, and go through some resources. So really looking forward to their presentation today. And then we will pause and do a Q&A, and then we will pop into breakout sessions a little bit later. And then we'll have a couple minutes for wrap up and recap at the end. So that's really looking at our agenda for today. All right, next slide, please. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Tim. Thank you, Tim.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. As Stephanie led with, we were together, many of us, under 1 month ago. And so as far as updates go, not a ton has transpired in a month, and we're going to be covering some of the things that we touched on. But I'm excited to be here for any questions you may have follow up on what's here or what we covered last month. First and foremost, I'm just really pushing this bulletin that's gone out. It includes a lot of answers to questions that have come up over the past year, not just more recently, but I kind of keep a running list of things that I want to address over the course of a year in my annual bulletin, and I'm trying to get this out far and wide through every channel available to me. So, as you may recall from our what was it, October 23rd webinar, this covers dual credit funding coming out of the last legislative session, dual credit notification, which we've been pushing for, it feels like 2 years now, really making sure people understand that. Running Start updates and rulemaking, which I'll touch on in a moment, high school and beyond plan completion, particularly for Running Start students, credit conversion, and PD and resources. So just re-emphasizing that, asking that as questions come to you that you know because you've read it, are answered in that document, that you see that as a resource to schools and districts. It has gone out far and wide, but I'm still getting questions from schools and districts who may not be on our listserv, may not be connecting the dots. So that is just there for your benefit and to help your conversations with your partners. One thing that continues to come up, although it's been addressed in that bulletin and in a number of places throughout the years, is FRPL identification, free and reduced price lunch, continues to be a challenge. We have acknowledged that we inadvertently created some confusion with the RSCVF updates. I assure you that's going to be fixed in the year to come. We're not going to do a full new RSCVF for the current year. But as those continue to come up, I just want to reemphasize RCW 28A 600-310. That really should answer the question for the districts as to whether they should be giving you this information. If it's not coming through on the RSCVF, I really want to reinforce that that RCW dictates that it get to you in some way, shape, or form. I've said before, I'll say it one more time, and then hopefully I'll stop saying it because this is starting to sound like a broken record. That I would encourage you to identify and work with your partners to determine if this is a local issue versus a systemic issue as you try to work through these concerns. Are we talking about one counselor versus an entire system that's not providing this information, or an entire district? That's going to determine how we respond to it. So just keep that in mind as these come up. And then finally, there is one more resource that has been provided very recently through OSPI's Child Nutrition Services Office. That's linked here on the page, but it makes really clear as you look at it that um, that consent is not required for identifying students' FRPL eligibility. It's right there. There's a line for Running Start on page 2. But it covers all the programs that we administer through OSPI and identifies really clearly which ones might attach to FRPL, questions of FRPL eligibility, and what the consent requirements are for it. Running Start's identified. That could be another thing that you pass along to a district to say, hey, we need this, and this is what this document from OSPI is saying to you. Hopefully that's helpful. One thing I wanted to at least elevate and perhaps talk more about during the Q&A is multi-term registration. I know that this came up really briefly in the webinar, and we've talked about it previously. I'm continuing to hear from some districts that colleges who are moving to a multi-term registration process are oftentimes catching them off guard in that transition. I am by no means saying that you shouldn't do what's right for your college in terms of registration and guided pathways and so forth. I just really, really want to underscore the importance of working with your partners as you make those transitions and changes. We're learning a lot that students are getting kind of caught in the crossfire between colleges who are wanting to do multi-term registration and districts who have not set up their advising practices to do that. So it's important that everybody understand the position that the other party is in, and I really just there's not a lot of directive information here, except to say, please, please, please work with your partners if this is a direction that you are moving into. And I'd be interested in getting some feedback during the Q&A about how this is going or how you have approached this with your district partners. Running start barriers also continue to come up despite a lot of guidance that we have provided about them. I want to bring back a document that is now a year old from our last bulletin in 2024. And that covers a lot of running start access questions that continue to bubble up. And I'm just providing it not to say that I won't intervene or I won't support and provide assistance to you when these things come up. But there might be a more efficient answer to your questions or your challenges with schools and districts by consulting this document. It covers things like walking and graduation honors. It covers things about academic readiness and school district determining running start eligibility. There's just a number of questions that outside of our FAQs, which already I think is fairly comprehensive in a lot of these ways, it definitely streamlines it. And if you are seeing an issue that seems to be repetitive and recurring with the district, check that document and see if there's a really clear statement from OSPI about it, and provide that and try to find out if that would resolve your issue and then bring me into the conversation. The graduation participation is the big one that keeps coming up. And I keep hearing that districts are restricting students from participating in graduation ceremonies depending on their running start enrollment. I also just wanted to elevate the CTE zip code crosswalk for graduation pathways. We continue to get questions about where that is. Basically, that's why this is here. It is not on our dual credit page, although I am moving to get it there, but it is on our CTE pages. So I would just want to direct you to that if you have any questions from students who are going down a CTE graduation pathway saying, I want to cover some of these courses through Running Start. What this essentially is a crosswalk of those zip codes from the colleges that have already been identified as coursework that could satisfy a graduation pathway in CTE. RSEVF translations have been done for quite some time. And I think in the transition to summer and some of the craziness, we forgot about them, let's be honest. But they are coming. They're being posted to the webpage very, very shortly. That was supposed to have been done by today. And so I was excited to say they're there. They're not yet. We discovered that they had not been looked at for accessibility because we thought we contracted to have that done. So we're doing an accessibility check on them. In the meantime, if you need a translated version of an RSEVF, please feel free to reach out and let me know, and I can send it to you individually. But recognize those will be on the website very soon, and it'll be under Running Start program details on our course-based dual credit webpage. But the link is there. You should be able to find it fairly easily once they are posted. Getting close to the end, I just want to acknowledge that rulemaking will be occurring in the winter, probably on the other side of the holidays around Running Start. We are still going through a couple of internal checks on understanding of the language that's being provided, and we are still under the review period for higher education. Those rule changes have gone to SBCTC, Council of Presidents, WASAC, and others for their preliminary review, at which point they will be filed as a CR 102. And when that happens, I will obviously be back here to tell you that the actual language of our running start rule changes are available for you and for public comment. That will be followed by a hearing. And if you want to keep tabs on all of this, we have a rulemaking activity webpage. So there you will already find the CR 101 regarding running start, and you can take it's not super informative right now. It just tells you these are the whacks that we are looking at. But there will be more when the CR 102 is filed in the very near future. But I wanted to make you aware of that resource. Likewise, we have a running start legislative report coming. I can't promise when that will be posted. It has gone through the review period. We did find a data error. Thank you to our higher education partners for flagging that. We're trying to correct that, at which point it'll get routed and approved. So it's another coming soon. If you wanted to review last year's report, that is up on the webpage along with the data file. The data file that got submitted there is actually this year's data file. So if you wanted to go check it out, I'll be honest, for your purposes, it's pretty much reflective of what's already in a fantastic dashboard that you have had for a very long time. So the information that you might be interested in is already on the SBCTC dashboard. That's what we draw from. But if you want to read the narrative, the report is there, and this year's report will be coming really soon. Finally, I have an office hour in December. For anybody that attempted to log on yesterday, I am sorry. I had to cancel that one. I got pulled into a division meeting. I left a couple people hanging. I really wish, and if it does, let me know, that Zoom had the capability of like posting a message when a meeting was canceled for an open audience. But if you attempted to log on, you didn't do anything wrong. I did. My apologies. And with that, I'll pass it back.
Thank you, Tim. And I wanted to say happy early birthday to Tim. I know your birthday is coming up. And happy birthday to anybody who has November, December birthdays as well, because I know we're not going to have our next meeting until January. All right. So dual credit updates. So like I said earlier, some of this information we already shared last month. So it might be a little bit redundant, but I thought it was important to just share this again. We have our College and High School Alliance Technical Assistance Grant. And which we are part of 7 states that are part of that reshaping dual credit visions across our states. And so there's the press release there. Thank you, Kristen. And so just wanted to provide a quick update. Again, I shared this last month as well. But this summer we had put out that Washington Dual Credit Partner Survey. I think we had over 300 responses, and those key themes that came up are really equitable access, transferability, advising and support services, and college readiness were really those top points that came out of the survey. So already this fall, we had our first advisory group meeting. So we put together an advisory group of stakeholders throughout the state in dual credit experts, which includes some of you all here. And then so we had our first meeting. We presented a vision that we had put together, a vision draft. And then we also convened as a cohort during the NASEP conference at the end of October. And it was also nice to see some of you there in person at the NASEP conference. And so we did some great work. We had a Saturday together as a team, as a Washington core team. And we worked with other states, which was really valuable, understanding what's going on a national level and at other states when it comes to dual credit and creating that vision and those systems. And so looking ahead, we have our second advisory meeting December 17th. And we really hope to have our vision statement created by end of 2025. And we have some other exciting ideas that are coming out of that work, and we will share soon, hopefully, but I don't want to give it away just quite yet. So stay tuned. I'm sure in January we'll have some further updates. All right, next slide, please. Awesome. And I know this is our Running Start series, but I thought it was important because there is such overlap in programs at our colleges of who works with college and high school students and Running Start students. So just pointing out that SBCTC had released that Community Technical College Business Practice Guidance document. It really was created to support legislative mandates, streamline standardized college business practices across the system. So really trying to thread that needle between NACEP standards, what is required for reporting and allocation purposes for community technical colleges. And as part of that, we had some additional deliverables. We created that OAAP online admissions application portal admit type for college and the high school. So we really took what you all use for Running Start and kind of copied and pasted it into the college and the high school. So college and the high school now has an admit type as well when you look at the OAAP across the board. And so there also is that new college and the high school plan code in CTC link. So just wanted to flag that. Some of you are very well aware because you work in the college and the high school world as well. But I just think it's important to just throw that flag up there. I also wanted to mention, since we released that document in September of 2025, we did have one large update to it, and that was underneath the oh my goodness, let me see here. The course setup section, and we added a registration term flow chart. So take a look at that. I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that update. All right, back to Running Start. We are always looking for ways to gather innovative practices that you all are doing on the ground. We are really interested in highlighting programs using this space here and being creative and innovative with this time that we have together. So I know that we had a Peninsula College present last spring on their best practices for advising for Running Start students during the summer. And so we're just looking for ways to really utilize this space to the best of our ability and to fit what your needs are as practitioners at our colleges for Running Start students. So as you can see here, we just popped up. We tried this. This is us trying something new out. We're trying to take a poll. What would make future sessions most useful for you? Topics, formats, timing. Tell us. Just trying to gather any kind of information that you all would like to provide us so that we can continue to elevate this time together and really meet the needs of what you all need, right, for you and your students. So go ahead and take a minute to complete that poll. And if you would like to maybe be featured and present during one of these series sessions, we would love to hear from you. We would suggest completing the form there that Kristen just dropped in the chat. And you can kind of tell us like, hey, this is something that we're doing that I think is unique, or I think this could be really helpful to other colleges and programs. So really just looking to find different ways to be collaborative and share the goodness that y'all are doing. So I'll give you just a couple of minutes there to finish that. And everyone can see that, right? The poll popped up. Cool. Okay, just making sure. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and move on for time's sake. And thank you so much. Any feedback is great and helpful for us. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so I wanted to flag, and I know that I believe it was January, we had our SBCTC Student Support Programs team come and do a presentation. We're in the talks about hopefully inviting them back. Well, they have been invited back and creating some type of presentation. So let me just say, there's been so much change, right, at the federal level. The government shut down. This is impacting our students. This is impacting us at our colleges. This is impacting everything that we do and the ways that we do things. And so I just really wanted to make sure that we had a slide for you all today at the bare minimum, just to share with you the resources that we have available to review and take a look at here. So just
Oh, wait, what happened?
Stephanie, I think that your audio dropped.
You weren't muted. The audio just cut.
While Stephanie is taking care of some audio tech problems, we always like to have a little bit of fun in these meetings. I can go ahead and pick up. So we've got some key tools on this page, and I'm going to put them in the chat in just a bit. Jennifer Dillinger, who you may have seen last year, she's our policy associate for student support programs. She is fantastic. She would be your point of contact for all things student support right now. She has the latest information. They've also included a policy brief link there that
Can
is
you hear me?
related, but not, yep.
Oh, good.
Great.
Okay. So sorry, everyone. I don't know what happened. And thank you, Kristen, for jumping in there. Everybody can hear me now, though? Good? Okay. Strange. Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, we partner dual credit, SBCTC dual credit partners really closely with our student support programs team. Oop, and all kinds of audio stuff going on today. Oh, geez. Okay. And so we thought it would be very important to provide information to help support our students, right? And support you all at colleges, managing your Running Start programs and getting these resources out to students and to staff, right? So a couple things, and I know Kristen was thank you so much jumping in there. So the first one listed there, the basic needs dashboard. This is brand new, has not even been placed onto our webpage yet, onto the SBCTC webpage. So that is a temporary link. I want to make sure everybody is aware of that. It goes to a Tableau dashboard piece that's not the permanent link yet. So as follow-up, when I send out like our listserv follow-up and the recording, we'll put the actual link in that email so you all have it. But basically our SBCTC policy research team, they built a student basic needs dashboard, which presents CTC sector data from 2024-2025, that student basic needs survey that was distributed. And so I think one of the coolest things about it, I was playing around with it this morning. It is brand new. We just saw it as a team yesterday. Is that you can actually disaggregate data by dual credit. So I just think it's a really neat tool. It can be very helpful to take a look at. So really wanted to make sure that we shared that with you all this morning. With that being said, I think it's also great to show everyone the student support programs webpage that has information in there that is very up to date. Our student support programs team is in there all the time, putting the most recent information, stuff from to help folks out with government shutdown, again, federal changes. And that first link there is going to the main student support programs webpage. The next link is information for students. So it's a student-facing web page. So it's a little bit more student-friendly. Students can kind of navigate it a little bit easier, is the hope, on all the resources and things that are out there and available. So take a look at that one. That is also new. So really excited to share that with you all today. And then there's also a document here. It's a DSHS document, Federal Law Impacts for the Department of Social and Health Services. So this is really to show the impacts of SNAP and Medicaid, essentially. So that can be really great. If you all haven't seen that yet, I think it's a really great tool to understand. And with that being said, I talked to Jennifer Dillinger yesterday, one of our great colleagues, really leads a lot of this work. She is more than happy to meet with community and technical colleges, any of you all, on a one-on-one basis to really walk through what the impacts are at community and technical colleges with all of these changes, to answer any questions you may have. So we wanted to make sure to put Jennifer's information down there. She was she's more than willing to meet with you all, and we're going to try to get the student support programs team in front of our Running Start series audience as well in the new year. So just wanted to make sure that we had a chance to at least provide these resources today to you all, and just at least have a brief conversation and point out to you all about this. And then kind of going back to what Tim said earlier, we did release, SBCTC did release a policy brief in spring of 2025. We have it right there, ensuring statutory compliance and running start income verification. So basically, students, FRPL documentation is good up for 5 years, right? So really, we want to look at this as no harm to students and eliminating barriers, right? So being careful not to create additional barriers for students to verify their status, FRPL status. And so, given everything that's going on at a national level, just really thought it was important to touch on that as well during this slide. We want to support our students, do the best by our students, especially when they've got all of this heaviness coming down on them from other angles. So just wanted to really, make a point to talk about this today. So, all right. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tim. Feel free to stick around if you would like. We are very grateful for your time, as always, every month. All right, so we are going to go ahead and transition to talking about our SBCTC student financials work with Running Start. And so I have the great honor of presenting some information here. So over the summer, the student financials team and dual credit team, we went through and did a Running Start resource inventory. So we took a look at what was on our SBCTC web pages, what was basically out there reference center wise when it came to Running Start. And so we tried to take a poll because as we had found out, stuff was just stuff can be found everywhere, right? And we really want to make it easier on folks, right? We don't want folks to have to dig and try to find things in all these different places. So that was really the intent of what we were trying to do here. And so what we have come up with is our SBCTC dual credit website, webpage, the Running Start tab, will really serve as like the go-to for information. So we plan on continuing to update and put resources there as it pertains and links there so you have easy access to everything. So the main page, like I said, will be the SBCTC dual credit website, Running Start. You can find there right now the Running Start coordinators at community and technical colleges. So that list, I know a lot of you are familiar with that. If you take a look at that and think, oh, this is outdated, let me know, please. We are happy, or Kristen, no, we are happy to update it. We know that their transitions happen, titles change, phone numbers change. So, folks move in and out of roles. So please feel free to reach out if that needs to be changed. But we do really try to keep that update as best we can. Also found there is the OSPI dual credit website link. So it links directly to Tim. So again, trying to make this easy access for folks. And then we also have our updated Running Start FAQ is there. A link now to our CTC Link Reference Center, and our student financials team is going to go through that in just a second here. We also have a link there to our SBCTC Dual Credit YouTube playlist, which all of these series and our dual credit webinars have been posted to and will continue to be posted there. And then I mentioned earlier that particular policy brief that is there, and any additional policy briefs that we have from here on out will be placed in on this page. So again, this is going to be kind of like that landing space. You all find these resources, they're going to be right there chunked together. And I appreciate Kristen putting this note at the bottom here. If there are resources you use or think should be included in this list for ease of access, please let us know. We would be more than happy to add something in there that you think is useful and would be great to link to.
Stephanie,
yeah,
can I just,
yeah,
I'm
go ahead,
sorry, can
Tim.
I make a remark on that?
Mhm.
I have found that a lot of folks bookmark a page um, for finding resources in perpetuity, long down the line. I would really encourage everybody to make sure that when you've bookmarked something, that whatever you've bookmarked is something that will update, because I've noticed a lot of folks bringing me FAQ responses or FAQ additions dating back to like 2023. I've seen 2021 because they bookmarked something at one snapshot in time, and that somehow is archived in the ether. So what Stephanie's providing are updated, and actually going direct to the website is usually your
Yes.
best course of action than relying too heavily on bookmarks with the FAQs, for instance, or the RSEVF. What I just put in the chat is a link to our course-based dual credit webpage, which is just a branch of the one that Stephanie already talked about. But under Running Start program details, there's an accordion, and I think a lot of people miss the accordion, but there's an accordion where you're going to find older bulletins, you're going to find the current RSEVF, you're going to find the RSEVF tutorial, the Running Start invoice calculator. I meant to mention that. There's an invoice calculator on there. All the tools and resources are under that accordion. So I wanted to just highlight that.
Thank you, Tim. No, it's so important. And that's exactly why we're doing this work, right? We're trying to put everything together, ease of access, have it all accessible to everyone. So yeah, but again, go ahead and reach out if you can think of additional resources that need to be included or should be. We would be happy to adjust or add something to our webpage. And we will continue to work this year and to make this better and to put additional resources on there for everybody. All right, next slide, please. Awesome. So I get to turn it on over to our amazing SBCTC student financials team, who again was very much hands-on in that inventory that we did. So really appreciate them, appreciate all the work that they do for Running Start and all our dual credit programs. So turning it on over to you all. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, you're very welcome. Thank you, Stephanie, for having us and for continuing to work with us so that we can, help to continue to maintain and improve the CTC Link Running Start page. That does fall within the student financial support team kind of purview. And so Pauline and Spencer and myself and the rest of the team, we that's what we do. So that's our one of our big goals is to make sure that it does what you need it to do, and it works as it should, and appropriately charges and waives student tuition. And so, as the previous slide just mentioned, we are very interested in hearing any other ideas for improvements with regards to functionality. We're also always open to ideas on, trainings that we can offer, similar to what Pauline is going to go through here in just a moment. She will kind of review that main Running Start page in just a moment, and she's also going to go through the reference center and specifically the Running Start portion of the Student Financials Reference Center, which has, of course, instruction on how to use some of the features within CTC Link. And then, she's going to talk a little bit more about some of the other functionality like the Copy High School Data Review. Spencer will then take over and let you check out a query that he has developed and has been working on for a while. And so appreciate your patience with regards to us getting this over to you. But it is available and ready in the PRD environment, and so you'll be able to see that shortly. And then lastly, Spencer's going to talk about some of the one of the ideas brought from last year's Running Start series, which is the homeschool checkbox. And so he's going to show you a little bit of that. We'll take a vote and we'll let you know what needs to happen in order to kind of move forward with that. So thank you very much for being here with us and for continuing to work with us here at the SF team here at the State Board. Pauline, if you want to take over and start showing the reference center.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen real quick here. My gosh, it's been a while since I've been in Zoom. Okay, so this is our CTC Link Reference Center. I did scroll down to the bottom because I didn't want to give you guys like a brain craziness as I'm scrolling through the page. So we are at the bottom of the page and you'll see the SF Running Start. So we're going to jump in there and take a look at those pages. So the QRGs that we have are the Process Running Start, Running Start High School Data Rule. So I'm going to go through both of those in the system for you today. We do have the Automate the Assignment of Running Start student groups. So that's kind of batch processing, running a job to post student groups. Running Start queries. You can ignore the Running Start admissions processing guide. We are actually today updating that one, so there'll be some new information on that one. And then the Running Start billing and payment process in finance. So those are the QRGs that are available under this link. I'm going to jump into one just to kind of give you an idea of what a QRG looks like. At the top, we typically have the purpose audience of who this is for. At this one, we do have the SBCTC Running Start Coding Guidelines web page link. Most of our QRGs do have security roles. A couple things with security roles, you don't need all of them. They're all listed there so you know if you have one of those roles. A lot of times, if somebody gets more than one added to them, so if they have a view role and a correct history role, that view only role is going to override it and you're not going to be able to do the processing that you need. So the levels of security are view only is usually a ZD role. ZZ is your typical processing. Most people have the ZZ roles to do processing in the system. And then the ZC role is the highest level, which is correct history. And it means correct history. So you want to make sure that before you make any changes in production, go into PCD, test, make sure what you're changing is what you need to do, because once you make that change, anything prior to that is going to be gone. So it's really important to make sure you're not overriding anything. On this QRG, we do have a reminder about the 910 waiver rule. It's no longer active as of fall this year, so we do have that reminder there for you. And then once you get into the QRG, we're not going to go through the whole thing, but once you click these links, it shows you the step-by-steps. So it's showing you what you need to do to make this process happen. Again, like was said before, we're always welcoming suggestions on these. So if you see something that isn't working correctly, or if there's something that you want to see added, submit a ticket and we can work on that. We always welcome changes for sure. Okay, I am going to go over here and go into CTC link now. So we are going to take a look at a couple of the Running Start pages. So the first one we're going to look at is the process Running Start. So we are going to go to menu and then down to student financials. Running Start pages are under CTC custom. Wait, I missed a step. We want tuition and fees. Almost missed that. And then CTC custom. And then the Running Start page. Okay, so when you get to this page, there's several search options. Typically, you want to search by a student ID, academic career, academic institution. If you have your SACR default set up, that will automatically populate to your school, and then a term. So I'm going to come in here. I have a student already populated. I'm going to use Peninsula as my example today, and we're going to look at a student from fall term. Okay, so we get to the student Running Start page. At the top, always the basic information. We have the student's info, ID number. We have some bio info here, contact information. Always keep an eye on your service indicators. So these two symbols are for service indicators. This one is a negative service indicator. So it could be blocking a student from registering or any kind of number of things. So always good idea to check those. And this is a positive service indicator. So if you have a student who's in a certain group that you wanted that positive service indicator on there, I know Peninsula uses it for like release of information. They have positive service indicators on their students for that info. So good idea to check them just to know what's going on. Down here, we have the student Running Start information. So this is where we're connecting them to the high school. So effective date, always important to make sure you're using correct effective dates. We have our school district, high school information. Their grade level is really important here. And then, of course, their maximum units. We do have this field for counselor name. We're not currently using that, and we are kind of looking into it if it's something that we're going to keep there. It's a lot of work for colleges to maintain. So we don't know if it's really a useful option. And then the comment field. Couple important things with the comment field. It is part of the student record, so make sure you're following your college guidelines on what information you're putting in there. If a student ever requested their records, that information would be pulled. And comments are term specific. So when you do the high school data role, that comment isn't moving over from term to term. So couple important things, but it is a good field. I believe some people are using it for homeschool information. They put that in there. So hopefully that checkbox will help out down the road with that. Okay, over on the right side of the screen is where we have student groups. So these are the student groups that the student is currently in. These are effective dated. So if you have a student group you know is on a student, you know you've looked at the student group screen, it's on there, and it's not showing in here, it could be because you don't have the correct effective date. So if you have it dated in October and it's beginning of September, it's not showing yet, that would be why. So always, if you see it, you know it's on there, kind of check your effective dating in the student group screen. We're going to jump over to that screen real quick. So this is asking if I want to have to update historic rows. That again is, of course, correct history. I'm going to say no this time. And this is where you apply and inactivate the student groups. So up top here, you're going to see your academic institution and the student groups that the student has on them. And then you can scroll through and see different student groups that they have applied on them. So you can see this student has SRSL, but it isn't active. But if you go down to this row, you see the history of it. So you've seen that they've been inactive, active a couple of times. So it's always important when you're adding the student. So if you're adding them back to SRSL, always come down and add a new effective dated row. It's going to bump me back to the beginning here. There we go. And make sure you're dating it correctly. So for these, it's always good if you're making an active row to have it the first day of the quarter or the day before. So you're getting into that quarter date frame. And again, I'm going to say it a million times, never override an active row with an inactive row. So if you're making a student inactive, make sure you add that new row, especially on student groups that impact any kind of tuition waiver or anything like that, because once you change the active row using correct history, it's going to change that student's current tuition. So always important to make sure you're adding effective dating. I'll say that a million times so you know it. Okay, I'm going to cancel out of here. I'm not going to save anything. So the last thing on this page I wanted to show you was the billing units. So your data should be set up correctly. You shouldn't have to come in here too often to do any overrides. Once in a while, if there's something comes up, that's fine. If you're finding yourself going in a lot to make changes, submit a ticket to us. So we want to take a look to make sure nothing crazy is going on. You shouldn't be having to come in here and do overrides. If you do have to do an override, you can come in here and select this override checkbox. So we're going to do it on this creative writing. Let's say that the school will only pay for 2 credits of this. So we need to make a change. So if you select that, you'll see that this self-pay box is available now to make a change. So I'm just going to go and change this to 3 credits and hit tab, and you'll see that the school pay now changed to 2 credits. So this student, the self-pay and school pay has been changed. If the class is not eligible, you can just click this checkbox and you'll see it automatically moves all 5 credits over to the self-pay. So again, if you're using this a lot, we don't want you doing that. Submit a ticket. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to show you before I hand it over to Spencer is the roll high school data, and it is in the same CTC custom. So copy student data. We're not going to save anything I did in there. So you will set up a run control. If you have not done this before, you're going to add a new run control. Once you set that up, you don't have to continuously, every time you do this, create a new run control. So create a good run control name. In the QRG, the roll high school data, it talks about run controls and all that information. So I'm going to add one. I'm going to add a really bad one. So Spencer, don't kill me for adding a bad run control. And once you get in here, it's a pretty easy page to use. You're just going to add your institution information, of course, your undergrad career, and then the term that you're rolling to and from. So we're just going to say we're going to roll from fall to winter. And then that's simple. All you do after that is click run. I'm not going to run this process today. And then you would go over to your process monitor to kind of see what the process is. Again, the QRG does have all that information on how to check the process monitor and all that good stuff. So I am done with that piece, and I'm going to hand it off to Spencer.
Okay, same thing. Let's figure out how Zoom works here. Screen one and share. Okay, so I wanted to show really quickly why we have the new.
Oh, Spencer, can you
Am I back? There we
you
go.
blipped
Okay,
on us
yep.
there for a sec, but you're back.
Okay.
And you're not sharing quite yet. You may need to reshare. Uh-oh.
Oh no, does Zoom not like Spencer?
I don't know if Spencer and Zoom are in agreement. Can you?
Maybe turn your screen off, Spencer.
I'm gonna try to take. Let me try to take sharing from him. Can you enable me to share?
Yep, give me 1 second.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Spencer, where are you? Oh, he dropped off all the way. So, all right. Well, just as earlier, let me go ahead and let's see here. Pull in the query that I mentioned he developed in with our reporting team, this QCS SFRS missing data. As I mentioned a little before, that query is available in production right now. It is a validation query and is kind of meant to catch after rolling. You run this query to make sure there's not any missing data that's crucial to calculating appropriate tuition.
Back,
And
Brandon.
so, hey, there you are.
Could you share your screen in SUP, actually?
In
This
SUP.
happened when we were in our other meeting too. Zoom just crashes anytime I try and Zoom, I guess, or share.
Yes. Let me go into that environment.
Then I can just chat through it while you share, hopefully.
Totally fine.
Sweet, sweet, sweet.
Very easy going on this. Let's see here.
I'll send you my ID that I was playing around with.
And okay, find chats.
And there's a few pages, of course, I had like 5 pages pulled up I wanted to share. But if you could go to the student groups page, so records enrollment, career and program information, then student groups. Yeah. And if you need that ID, send again, or I can say it out loud.
And you send it to me in WebEx chat?
WebEx, yeah.
There we go.
So the situation I want to show is the reason we needed this new query. Colleges were finding that students had enrollment, they had one of the two student groups, SRSR or SRSL, but tuition wasn't calculating on their account correctly. So I just wanted to share this is my account in one of our test environments. I was setting up the situation you might see. So if you look here, 9/1/2025, we're going to be looking at fall term. So that's early enough. I do have the SRSR student group there. So active for Bellevue for fall term. That's looking good. If you could do new window and go to the records and enrollment again, I want to show that, the student me does have enrollment. So go to enrollment or enroll students enrollment. Sorry, second. And yeah, that guy there. Same ID. 080. Search for fall term. Yep, that guy there. If you click that, and if you could view all and zoom in just a little bit. So what I wanted to show here was I do have 3 5-credit classes. More specifically, if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see that one of them is below 100 level, right? This is charged to all students, regardless of their waiver student or not. So we should see tuition charging on this account because one, they're in, 15 credits. We don't know their maximum yet, but more so, hey, they're in a Math 99. That should always charge tuition to these Running Start students, regardless if they're waiver or non-waiver students. So if you could open one more, for now, one more tab, Brandon, and go to the TUI Calc page. I just want to show what the account will look like when this error occurs or when data is missing. So if you go tuition fees, tuition calculation, paste in the ID for fall term. So you can see tuition calc ran on them. They're in the tuition group of Running Start. So the system did see, hey, the student has the correct student group for that term. If you display tuition and fees here, and then do the amount twice, you'll see that they do have charges, but there's no tuition, right? So we expect operating building and S&A for this student, but we're not seeing it, right? We know for a fact that they're in Math 99, right? That should charge operating building and S&A are tuition items, but it's not. We've gotten a few tickets of this of, hey, what's going on? They're in the student group. I double check the effective date. Tuition calc is running on them, putting them in the Running Start group, but something's missing. What's broken here? So what's happening is we're actually missing data. So if you do, yep, Brandon, if you pull up the student Running Start page, we'll see that this student is actually not fully set up on the Running Start page, and that's causing us some issues when it comes to tuition calculation. So search, pull them up for fall term, perfect. So again, active Running Start tuition group here. If you go to the billing units tab really quick, you'll see here, hey, everything's in self-pay. They should be being charged tuition, but they're not. And the reason is, if you go back to the first tab here, none of the information on the left is populated. The key thing here is the max units, but realistically, when you're populating max units, you should have the school district and high school. So the query that we've created identifies students that are missing data on this page, but have some enrollment, and they have the correct student group on their account. So these will find the students that might slip through the cracks, and they might slip through cracks for a while because, as we saw on the tuition calc page, they are getting mandatory fees and any course and class fees. So you might just think, hey, they're a waiver student, they're getting everything waived. But as you saw, that's not necessarily the case. They should be getting charged tuition. So this report that we're about to show you will find these students and return their EMPL IDs for you. Do you need the name of it, Brandon? Or do you have, oh, perfect. So I would just run it for Bellevue. It should pull up my account that we were just looking at for 2257. So the only prompts here are going to be your institution and the term you want to review it for. If you click view results, you can see that's the account we were just looking at. There's the ID, institution, and just the student group that they're in, just kind of some basic information. But if anyone is returned here, you know that the issue is this page is missing data. So you can come in here, add the max units, add the high school information, click save. The next time you view their account or tuition calc is ran on them, you should see the correct tuition charges apply. So not super common. I think we had like 30, 40 kids total amongst all colleges. So like, it was luckily, that's a good thing, not a huge widespread issue, but we were getting tickets on tricky accounts, and it does take some time to dig through to see what it might be. So hopefully this is kind of a query you can utilize, every term, just give it a run, see if anyone comes back that you might need to, populate this information for. As
It's kind of
Pauline, oh, go ahead.
it's like put it on a regular calendar to run it every now and then, especially after the big roll, and just as a validation piece, like, as you said, Spencer, just to emphasize that.
Yeah, and Pauline showed the roll process. If you do the roll process and a student already has this information populated, it will roll it from term to term, so you should be good there. This is kind of new students that have never, had this information populated before will kind of pop up. That's typically where we saw this issue occur. Perfect. And then Brandon, can you log into PDV for me? While he does that, were there questions on this? I saw some chats come in. Oh, you got the query name. Perfect.
There was a question about, I think this was in Pauline's section about unchecking eligible for free waiver students. So I'll just alert you, Pauline, to that one, and we can either tackle it in the chat or during Q&A.
Well, I'm going to let Spencer answer that one.
Oh, perfect. We're just going to let Spencer do all the talking.
Yes.
Then, let's see. If we do not have an EV form on file yet to enter in the maximum units, will it catch those if we enter the high school and grade level?
I believe that the max units is what drives the issue. So if you're entering a student and giving them one of those two student groups, marking them as a running start student, realistically, we should have the max units. Otherwise, again, I don't know the whole business process, but it's not going to charge them tuition correctly until we have that. So I wouldn't put them in the group until you have all the information for them. They would be charged like a normal student until they are put in one of those groups. But if we don't have all the information that we need for tuition calculation to run correctly, I wouldn't put them in one of those groups. That's my thought on it. I'm not sure, Stephanie, or Pauline, anyone else, if you guys agree with that. I just know it'll incorrectly charge them tuition if you put them in the group without the max units.
Yeah, I can speak to that real quick. Thank you, Spencer. And this is amazing. Thank you, Pauline. Thank you, Spencer. Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, so it's I know we when we had our dual credit webinar last month, we gave some guidance recommendation for summer running start. I believe it was in that section about best practice is receiving that RSEVF before a student is registered to enroll. So that is just our recommendation, best practice, and it's because of several different reasons, what Spencer just alluded to. You really want all of that information. It's about communication, collaboration, everything with your college and districts and all of that, but it's also this piece as well, right? Making sure students aren't getting lost, information isn't getting lost in CTC link, that we have everything. So I think that would probably be a best practice. So I agree with what Spencer is saying, and that aligns with what we've been saying. And yes, I know. Yeah, and I knew me saying this would probably spark a little controversy. Yeah, I know that it's not necessarily what happens between all districts and colleges, and so I'm saying that with a little bit of pause because I think as long as there's that communication and collaboration between the district and the students are in the know, and everybody understands the process, and you have streamlined something that works for you all, I would say go with that, but just be mindful of what Spencer is saying when it comes to missing data or that student running start page.
And I do see a few other questions in the chat. I'll hold on answering those until we get through the rest of the Spencer's presentation.
This should be a really quick one. Looks like PDV wasn't loading for Brandon, so yeah, fun. But I took a screenshot. I have it pulled up on my screen, so I sent him a screenshot to share here, and that really is the big change here. It was kind of just an ask for a checkbox to indicate on this page whether or not the student is homeschooled. So nice simple checkbox. The good part is it's a new custom field on this table behind the scenes, so it will be able to be pulled in reporting. So if there's a report or a query that the homeschool flag would be useful for, not only adding it here on the page, but in the data behind the scenes, this is something as you check it or leave it unchecked is something we can actually report on. So this is just created in our very lowest environment. As you saw, it didn't load because, it doesn't have the most power, get up and go. But something we'll be working on here in the next, few weeks or months, depending on how long the migration process takes. Brandon might be able to speak to that a little more, but something we're moving along the stacks at this point. So
Yeah, with regards to the migration process, what we have to do is, first of all, make sure you all, the Running Start community, wants to move forward with this, and I believe Christine and Stephanie are cool with having a kind of a mini vote so that we can use that information to build out the documentation, the enhancement request FYI document, so that we can kind of move this through the governance process and make sure that all the colleges are in the know that this change is going to impact every single student that uses Running Start. And so this will be available. We think this is for this type of a kind of indicator appropriate. And so hopefully everybody will agree. And one note with regards to the configuration and the building of this custom checkbox is that remember that this is a custom page for our system. No other state has a PeopleSoft page like this, and there's really probably not many other that are custom built like this. And so the quantity of code and development that has gone into this page and how it works for us is insane. It's a ton of work, and so once it's set, as it has been a couple years ago, and we're continuing to tweak it and monitor it, and during each PeopleSoft update, it gets a fair amount of attention because it is a custom built page, and so that's why we have to go through this governance process and make sure that everyone is in the know of this checkbox coming down. After that, part of the kind of review is a robust testing process throughout the entire state board IT team, and then we'll get this out to you. So that's why it was one of the reasons that the enhancement request process is a little bit lengthy. But we're getting better at it. There has been, enhancement request improvements over the years that are little faster to take to be put in place. And so Stephanie's team and our team will make sure to do our best to kind of get this into production as soon as we can, assuming you all are game and want to vote for it. So that's what I'll have to say about customizations.
I think that's all I had, right? Yeah.
I think so. Thank you. So should we take a vote so that we have that information to back up our enhancement requests that we're going to complete to get this going?
I can load one up real quick if you tell me what we're voting on.
Yes, we are voting. I think a simple yes or no, right, Brandon? What do we need here? Just a yes or no to adding the homeschool checkbox on the Student Running Start page.
Yep. And then we can
Perfect.
include those numbers on the enhancement request form. And
Yep.
I'm certain that in the next week or two, depending on Thanksgiving and whatnot, we'll hang out with the dual credit team and get this pushed up the ladder so that the executives here can sign off on it and have it start the process of getting validated and reviewed.
Sounds great. Thank you, Spencer, Brandon, and Pauline. Great work. And I'm excited to see what our vote turns out here. And yeah, such great comments in the chat. We'll get to Q&A next for the student financials team. I know there's some questions in there. Oh, perfect.
All right, you all should see that on your screen.
It's looking like a landslide. I like this.
This is the easiest poll we've ever done.
For austerity measures, Stephanie, I did get a screenshot of our results there, so we'll be able to
Perfect. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to Q&A. Thank you everyone for voting. Wonderful. Well, hey, thank you so much, Student Financials team, Spencer, Pauline, Brandon. You all are wonderful. You make our lives easier. So thank you very much for all your work. Really appreciate you all and looking forward to working with you this year on our series. All right. Thank you so much. Okay, we are going to go ahead and transition to breakout sessions. We have about, let's see here. Well, let me introduce it first and then we'll kind of figure out how much time we have. So breakout sessions, we kept this just pretty open-ended. We just wanted to give folks a chance to talk to one another. So we do have some prompt questions, but if you have pressing, I will say this because we haven't had these right since June, May. If you have pressing questions that you would like to ask your colleagues when you go to your breakout session, please use this time to do so. But if you wanted to have a little bit more facilitated conversation around some items here, we could talk about as we start the year, what successes or challenges you're having this year. What about your students? How can we best support your work? So SBCTC and these series, and then digging deeper, what's been most helpful in these sessions? I know we kind of alluded to that a little bit earlier. And what would you like to learn more about through peer-to-peer sharing? What data or information gaps could we help fill? So we'll drop this into the breakout session so y'all can refer back to this, but also please just use this time to ask questions of your colleagues, share information. That's why we want to do this, just to give y'all a chance to connect. So it is, let's see here, 10:37. We will come back at, let's see, 10:55. So we'll have a little bit more than 20 minutes to do breakout sessions here. So let's go ahead and get those ready for you all. I hope that everyone did enjoy their breakout session and talking with their colleagues. So just to wrap up here, how to stay connected. I'm pretty sure you all already have this information for the listserv because we tend to advertise the Running Start series out on here. But just a plug for Tim's OSPI dual credit updates listserv. If you aren't part of that yet, that's a good one. We've got our Running Start listserv and then our college and high school one. And then just a reminder that Tim has office hours coming up on December 17th, 3 to 4. And then if you do have any innovative practices and something maybe aha moment off the breakout sessions that you want to share, please feel free to complete that really quick survey. We would be happy to hear what you all are doing. All right, let's go ahead. Next slide. Okay, and then just a reminder of our Running Start series this year. We are not going to be having a December session, so I just wanted to make sure everybody draw attention to that. Our next one will be January 21st. Just with the holidays, end of quarters, end of term, we just thought it would be better to pause in December and hit the ground running in January. So I wanted to make a quick note on that one. All right, next slide. All right, well, hey, thank you everyone. I appreciate your time. Really grateful for the attendance and the conversations. Really looking forward to this series this year with you all, and have a wonderful holiday season. All right, take care, everyone.